The movie opens with a shot of a disc-shaped object which can be seen flying around a sweeping landscape. There is a cloaked figure at the wall. It is a humanoid alien. It removes its cloak and consumes a dark liquid. The body convulses in pain and appears to mutate from the inside. It falls into the water and the body begins to dissolve. Where is that being from? What happens next? This is movie Explain. Follow us today to a 2012 science fiction horror movie called Prometheus. Be aware, there are spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. We are now introduced to an archaeological team in Scotland that discovers a cave that is 35,000 years old. Two of them, Elizabeth Shaw and Charlie Holloway, examine some cave drawings which Elizabeth believes are an indication that someone wants them to come and find them. Sometime later, in deep space, on board the US Prometheus, David and Android inspects the bodies of the crew who are in cryogenic sleep. He is able to view the dreams of the crew and spends time exercising and studying. As the ship approaches its destination, the mission director, Vickers, automatically comes out of the Cairo ship and instructs David to wake the crew. Elizabeth and Holloway are among the crew who are relaxing. Later, due to crew's briefing, they are shown a holographic video from the owner of the Wayland Corporation. Peter Wayland is an old man who says that by now he is dead. He introduces David as the closest thing that he has to his son and confirms that Elizabeth and Holloway are in charge. They continue the presentation. The present images of old civilizations that all show ancient men appearing to worship giant beings that are pointing at the stars. The only star system in that configuration is so far from Earth that they have no way of knowing about it. There is one planet that is capable of supporting life, and that is where they are going. They call these giant beings engineers, as they believe that they engineered humanity. Elizabeth and Holloway meet Vickers in her room. It is a separate module described as a lifeboat. She also have a very rare and expensive medical pod in her room. She is skeptical about his mission and believes that the images are just scribbles from the primitive man. She instructs them not to touch anything on the surface below them and to report back to her as the company is funding the mission. Sometime later, the ship flies across the surface of the planet and Holloway spots some unnatural structures. The captain Janek lands the ship nearby and the survey team leaves the ship in protective suits. Elizabeth, Holloway and David are on the team with crew members Milbum, Philfield and Ford. They dive to a pyramid-like structure. Janek and Vickers are able to view their progress through cameras on the crew's helmets. As they enter, Fifield sends probes out to map the interior, producing a map back at the flight deck of the ship. When they discover that the atmosphere inside the pyramid is fine, Holloway removes this helmet. Everyone follows suit. David inspects some carvings on the wall. They are covered in mucus. The symbol lights up as he runs his finger across them. This seems to have activated a holographic recreation of large alien figures which run towards the team. As they watch, one of the figures falls and the team inspects that area. They find the remains of the alien. It was killed by a closing door. David reads the alien language on the door. Fifield wants to leave and he and Milbourne leave together. Elizabeth thinks that the body is over 2000 years old. David manages to open the door to reveal a giant humanoid head and many murals. Elizabeth and Ford examine the dead alien body. Elizabeth instructs everyone to touch nothing, while David examines some cylinders which contain a black liquid. Elizabeth realizes that they have been affected the atmosphere in there and should get out. She and Ford try to collect the dead alien's head for later examination. On board the ship, Janek is informed that a storm is coming and orders them to leave immediately. David secretly takes one of the cylinders. As he leaves, there is black liquid leaking over the floor. As the transport races back to the ship, Elizabeth drops the alien head. She runs back out to collect it, and the storm surrounds her. However, goes to help her, but they are both rescued by David. Janek discovers that Fifield and Milbum are not on the ship. They got lost in the pyramid. He radios them and tells them that he will rescue them in the morning. Sometime later, Elizabeth and Ford are examining the alien's body. They realize it was wearing a helmet and David helps to remove it. The head underneath is humanoid, but they think it was some state of change. They simulate the brain to make it think that it is still alive. The eyes open and it continues to mutate. They contain the head and then it explodes. Later, David is standing next to a chiropod wearing a helmet and talking to somebody. He activates the chiropod. He then meets Vicker in the corridor and tells her that they said try harder. As Elizabeth and Ford continues to examine samples from the head, they realize that it has the identical DNA to humans. David opens the cylinder that he brought back. It contains alien material. He dabs a spot of the black liquid onto his fingertip. Shortly Afterwards, she has a conversation with Holloway and asks him that he would do to get the answers to why he came all this way. Holloway replies anything and everything. David pours a drink for Holloway but dips his finger in the drink, infecting it with the black liquid. Meanwhile, Fifield and Minbull on the pyramid and discovers a pile of alien bodies. Janet detects a life form near to them, but it soon vanishes from the map. He pauses it off. Just a glitch, but Fifield and Melbourne nervously walk away from that area. In their quarters, Elizabeth shares the DNA results with Holloway. They have a conversation about the recreation of life, and Elizabeth reveals that she cannot have children. At the flight deck, Vickers is examining the map. She and Janek have a brief flirtation and agrees to meet her in their quarters in 10 minutes. Shortly afterwards, Fifield and Melbourne sees a snake-like creature slithering towards them, and Melbourne reaches out to touch it, and it wraps itself around his arm. He screams for Fifield to cut it off. The blood sprays over Fifield's helmet, melting the glass and his skin beneath. The creature climbs into Melbourne's suit and slides down his throat. Sometime later, Holloway awakens and he washes his face. He notices that there is something in his eyes. Suddenly, Janek calls through to Holloway and Elizabeth. He cannot contact Fifield and Melbourne. A team returns to the pyramid while David leaves in a buggy to repair one of his faulty probes. Vickers tells David to direct his video feed to her only. As he explores, he discovers more cylinders and aliens. But as he discovers some kind of control room, he disables the feed so that Vickers can no longer watch. David is at a control panel and watches some more holographic images of the humanoid aliens. He sees a map of the galaxy and identifies the Earth as the destination. He also discovers another body in the pod, which still seems to be alive inside the pyramid. Holloway is clearly sick. They find the containers which are leaking black liquid and also Milbourne's body. Ford realizes that there is something in Milbourne's throat and the snake-like creature leaps out and slithers away. As the team returns to the ship, Holloway is screaming. Vickers will not let him back on the ship as he is clearly infected. He tells that the rest of the team to leave without him and Vickers kills him with a flamethrower. Sometime later, Elizabeth is being examined by David. He reveals that she is pregnant with a non-conventional fetus. He won't let her see it and she starts to converse. David sedates Ford arriving wearing a biohazard suit to put her back in the cryosleep. However, Elizabeth is still conscious and fights to escape them. She runs to the medical pod in Vickers' room and has a creature surgically removed from her home. The creature is trained inside the medical pod as Elizabeth escapes. She sets a mission to decontaminate the contents. Suddenly, Fifield escapes. Camera activates. She seems to be outside the ship. The door is open and Fifield enters and starts to kill members of the crew. Janex kills him with the flamethrower. Meanwhile, Elizabeth stumbles into a room containing David, a team of medics, and Peter Wayland. She realizes that they had been on the ship this whole time on Cairo sleep. He also wants to meet the engineers. Although Elizabeth says that they are all dead, David reveals that there is one still alive. Janet discovers Elizabeth preparing to go with Wayland team. He tries to convince her to leave, but no avail. He does promise that he will do whatever he has to make sure no alien material finds its home. Vickers meets with Wayland. He is her father. As the team returns to the pyramid, Elizabeth is reluctant to remove her helmet, although David confirms that Holloway's source of infection was not airborne. He also confirms that the cylinders are in the cargo hold. Janek examines the map and realizes that it is a ship within the pyramid. David leads the team to a flight deck and confirms that the aliens were about to leave for Earth when the things went wrong. He believes that he can communicate with the aliens. They examine the body. It awakens and stands up. Elizabeth demands to know why they were going to Earth and why they hate them. Instead, Wayland tells David to explain that we have come just like you asked. The alien picks up David and rips his head off. Elizabeth escapes as aliens attack the rest of the team. Vickers watches Wayland die through David's camera. The alien activates the ship as David watches. Elizabeth is still running towards Prometheus as the alien ship emerges. Elizabeth tells Janek that he must stop it as it is heading for Earth carrying death. Vickers ejects to leave the ship on a escape pod, but the remainder of the crew stay to help Janek. Janek ejects Victor's lifeboat module and crashes the Prometheus into an alien spacecraft. Vickers and Elizabeth are running across the surface of the planet as pieces of spacecraft debris rain down upon them. Vickers is hit and dies and Elizabeth is buried. As she climbs out, she has only 2 minutes of oxygen remaining and makes her way to the lifeboat module. Inside, she hears a noise and explodes. The creature that was removed from her womb is still alive. David contacts her and informs her that the humanoid alien is also coming for her. She realizes the creature which attacks the humanoid alien while she escapes. The creature puts a tentacle into the mouth of the alien, appearing to kill it. Back outside, Elizabeth is crying when David asks for help. He knows that there are other ships around that he can operate. She drives a buggy to collect him. Also, David says that he can take her home. She wants to go where the aliens come from. She wants to know why they created humanity and now why they want to kill them. She leaves a message to anyone who may follow them to not to come here. Their only death here, and she leaving it behind. They live in another alien spacecraft. Back and board the lifeboat module. The humanoid alien starts to converge and the new creature bursts out his chest and roars. Like and subscribe to watch more videos like this, and don't forget to turn on your notifications. That really helps my channel. Thanks for watching.